Hello. Well, I agree with my colleagues. Of course, the feed-in tariff levels are very low and lower than the market, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why the government doesn't see this. The law was enacted in 2005, as far as I remember, and until this year, in the past 7 years, no company in Turkey has ever applied for to use the feed-in tariffs, because it has always been lower than the market prices. So if a feed-in tariff is lower than the market price, it's of no use. And also, Mr. Demer pointed out, the local content support is of course a right step, and we definitely support that. But the implementation is definitely not going well, and they need to definitely correct this situation. And besides the level of the tariffs, I think the duration of the tariffs also is low. For 10 years, purchase guarantee is not enough. I think it should be extended to 15 years in order to make the projects financed easier. And the level, of course, should be increased also. The local content bonus is for 5 years. That should also be increased to 10 years, in my opinion. And also in Turkey, there is this misunderstanding project finance. Like my colleague mentioned also, there is no non-recourse project finance in Turkey. It's impossible. But when you read the papers, you always see, in Turkish we call it proje finansmanı. Proje finansmanı is just the financing of the project. It's not project finance per se. So, but a lot of people think that when they read the news, let's say a power plant is financed, it's through project finance, proje finansmanı is provided by these banks. It's like usually even the employees of that particular company thinks that it is project finance. It's not project finance. It has never been done in Turkey. It's difficult under this situation, under this climate, in my opinion. And I think the government needs to see this and definitely elevate the level of the feed-in tariff. It doesn't make sense, first of all, if the real cost of generating electricity in Turkey here, let's take coal, for example. Today, the coal prices are around $125 per ton if you're using imported coal. And if you just make a simple calculation, you will see that the real cost of generating electricity from coal is not less than 12 or 11 kurush, Turkish cents per kilowatt hour. And a few years ago, in 2009, the government actually wanted to have the power plant in Elbistan. They went out on a tender to have those plants built to 2,400 megawatts, two plants, each 1,200 megawatts. And the proposals, the bids they got was $14 to $18 for the lignite that was there in that area. And then they canceled the tender, of course, because they thought it was too much. And it is too much, but that's $14 and $18 that were the proposals made by the two companies. And when 2 years ago the government tendered the Akkuyu nuclear power plant, of course no bid, no proposal was received for that, but later the government actually gave that tender to Russians. And what is the price? The price is approximately, it's not clear, but approximately $11 for today's value, present value is $11 per kilowatt hour from nuclear. Now, that's a simple math. $11 for nuclear, and the private companies are bidding $14 for lignite. If you build a new modern coal plant today, you will not have a cost less than 11, 12 Turkish cents per kilowatt hour. and then you're providing 13 Turkish cents per kilowatt hour, or $7.3 cents for renewable energy. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know how one can advocate this or support this kind of feed-in tariff. It doesn't make any sense, and that's why no company has ever used it. And also there is this misconception when you speak to investors, foreign investors, they think, oh, this is a floor. $7.3 cents is a floor. So it's like a put option on the prices, which is of course beneficial for the investors. It looks like that, but it is not actually even a floor in my opinion, because you first decide, and then if you are gonna take part in that feed-in tariff scheme, and let's say most investors have been opting out, not using the feed-in tariff, and in the last 2 years, for example, sometimes the feed-in tariff levels went higher, the market level was lower. So you end up at a lower level than the feed-in tariff sometimes. So it is because you don't know that. You don't make the decision after the fact. You make the decision 1 year before, at the end of October, right? Right? The decision, you tell the government your decision, so you're going to participate or not. So you, with your expectation that the market prices are going to be higher than the feed-in tariff, you don't take part in that scheme, like, for example, my company. But then, next year, let's say the market prices are lower than the feed-in tariff. So what's going to happen to you? Then you're going to, you're lower than that feed-in tariff level. So it's not even a floor, real floor. You may get less than $7.3 cents for your wind energy. And then, so I think that's not even beneficial in any sense. In any sense, I think the government is, in my opinion, should just abandon this feed-in tariff altogether, because it serves no purpose. The local content is a very good way, of course, to have jobs here, create jobs, and benefit the investors. But like Mr. Demir mentioned, that has to be fixed also, the implementation. So I think this feed-in tariff levels has to, like Professor Uyar mentioned, you need to have a look from a wide perspective to the old energy system in Turkey. So you cannot just look at the wind and solar. You have to look at the system altogether and decide. If you want to move in this direction, you move in that direction. But you cannot compete, wind or solar cannot compete in this climate with natural gas. Impossible. That's impossible. We cannot expect wind to compete against that. In no other country that has happened. Nuclear. It's impossible. You always need to provide more, better rates. It has to be at least $8.5 cents, the reference rates, and on top of that, I think the additional local support would be welcome, of course. But you cannot just have this kind of level and expect the wind energy to have the capacities to 20,000 megawatts. It's impossible. It's a dream that the dream will not come true. Although Turkey has that potential, I think these policies are totally wrong policies. For example, another perspective, you are investing in wind, but you are paying more per kilowatt installed capacity than you are paying for natural gas or even coal. So you are not in favor there, in capex, I mean. And then you're going to connect to the grid, right? So grid connection costs. And by the way, it was increased tremendously in the last couple of months. And in terms of grid connection, you pay a lot more for wind than you pay for natural gas, because it's based on megawatt or capacity, not energy generated. And of course, the wind energy, the capacity factors are 30%, 40%, between 40%. But the natural gas and the coal plants, they operate 80%, 75%, 80%, 85%. So basically, per kilowatt hour generated, your cost of connection is much higher for wind. So that's also, that favors the fossil-based generation. And then I think add this to the balancing and settlement market that's in favor of fossil-based generation, because in the market, if you one day ahead market, you let them know about your production program for the next day, and if you produce more than you projected, then you sell it at a lower price, and if you underproduce, then you buy from the market at the highest price. So that is, and this was just changed in December, a couple of months ago, and to the detriment of wind developers. And against all these odds, the wind developers are trying to invest more and trying to add more capacities, but it's not going to happen. And I think this is going to, and actually you can see this in 2011, the new capacity additions have decelerated compared to 2010. Everybody was expecting much more additions actually. But this is the market, and the investors are not very reasonable in Turkey, unfortunately. So they have to learn, I think, in the years ahead. So they are accumulating that experience and knowledge. But things are not going well, in my opinion, with these policies and with this kind of investor profile. We are not going to end up in a good place, I think. Thank you.